Hey there guys, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well, and today we've got a video that I know I'm going to find very interesting making, and it's something that probably a lot of you are going to want to know the information from. So today we're going to be looking at dinos in Ark Survival Evolved that are best for soaking as of right now, and potentially into the future depending on what they change in the game. So making this video February 2019, and as we all know, the game developers quite often change how these things work, so all of the old videos you might see on YouTube might be a little out of date by now. So I finally wanted to do a more conclusive test. I especially wanted to do this because on the servers I've been playing on, I've been wanting to know what kind of dinos take what kind of damage without actually risking my own dinos, and you might want to have a similar thing here. So what I've got here is a setup for us to take on these turrets with all different kinds of soakers. Now I've got the generic ones here that I thought I would try. Some of these I don't use too much and you guys suggest, and some of them are kind of like my own favorites even. Now obviously if there's any dinos or creatures that I haven't got here that you like to soak turrets with, then feel free to leave the comments in the comment section down below. Now this isn't to say that these dinos that I might say are quite good are going to be great for every different situation. It is all relative, guys. Yeah, okay, maybe the repicking might come out really good, but if a trike is a lot easier for you to breed and they're a lot quicker and you can get more of them, then that's going to be better in your own situation. So have a little think about this and think what things you actually can breed, what you can get, because it's fine to mess around in God mode and whatever, but obviously we can play around with whatever and get it easily. If you're actually playing on servers, you might well consider what you're risking when it comes to what you're actually going to be using for soaking. So we have two lots of turrets here. I just wanted to have two different lots just so we've got a little bit of different directions that turrets can shoot us from, because one of the things that is kind of important when you take into account soaking is not just the damage numbers, but it's how safe are you on the tame when you soak. And some of these smaller creatures like the trike and the patchy rhino, or my Yankee over there is getting eaten, never mind, but some of these smaller creatures, yes, they can be good if you're soaking a small amount of turrets head on, but if you're soaking turrets that are in multiple directions, they are very, very dangerous to be sitting on top of, which is why not only the golem can be quite good, but especially the stego. Although the stego I don't expect to perform particularly well here, it is great for being able to sit on and get not get hit on while you're on it, whereas the only other things that are super great at that really seem to be obviously the racer or a broadtoe, things with a platform saddle. So just while shooting this intro, the one thing I forgot to put in that I know I wanted to test was the carbon emis. These are pretty much not used anymore on officials, and a few of these are super tricky to use on officials, but I want to test them on these turrets here. Now on this side I've got players and tamed creatures, and in all honesty this setup is kind of not going to be suitable for most people raiding on official, but I've been playing unofficial recently, and because you have so many turrets you tend to put a lot of them on the same thing instead of just changing them individually, because it's easy to do with the turret filler that you often get on official. So these ones here are on players and tame creatures, and these one behind are on players only. So this is going to change up possibly what we can use. Now I don't have God mode on, but I do have infinite stats. So what that means is that once we test this side, it's not going to matter too much this side I don't think, but once we test the players only side, you will be able to see if I do get hit and my armor will break, and if I actually take more damage than I have health, then I will actually well, I will die, but I've got some sleeping bags down here. So these foundations here are roughly the area that the turrets start shooting us, and really I'm just looking to see how much damage a heavy turret and a tech turret will do to either of these. So all of my creatures are level 75,000. I'm not going to put infinite stats in them because I think they've got enough health that they'll be able to survive a minute without me having to do that, but I might do if it gets a little bit close. So here we go. Let's start off with a racer. Let's see how much damage heavies and tech turrets currently do to racers. Well, that is a lot of damage, and I'm actually struggling to see what's doing what damage. So let's see if we can like bait one type of turret or just a couple. I went a little bit too close then to really make a difference between the numbers. Okay, so we can see that the tech is doing 250 and the heavy is doing 256. That's actually really interesting. So quite a big difference there. So these, I guess, are pretty good all-rounders. If you've got a mix of walls, this isn't too bad, although that technically is a lot of damage. But then again, this is a primitive saddle. But we'll see how that compares to the other ones. But that's interesting. I wasn't sure if racers took much more damage from one turret or another. But that also goes to show you that I think if it was light turrets, they would be fine. I'm not sure when it's doing 88 damage. I think that's when the tech is hitting the metal on my structure. But an interesting start. Now we have the Stego. Is this going to put up similar numbers, or is this going to be different? Now, if it gets shot in the head, it will take a lot of damage. But let's see if we can bait out just ones. Oh, that's interesting. So we've got 161 and sometimes 157 from the heavies. Oh no, actually this is one. I think I got hit in the head there. I think if I turn like that, we take some head damage. But it looks like we're getting 157 from the tech and 161 from the heavy. So again, this seems to be a creature which doesn't mind either one. I think I'm getting shot in the head when I'm taking a lot of damage there. As you can see there, 375 when you turn its head. So yeah, interesting indeed. So it doesn't really mind either, but this actually takes less damage than the racer. I'm surprised by that. Now racers do have more health by default, so you can obviously bring that into play even, or consider that. But yeah, it takes less damage than the racer, significantly almost even. Now we're on to the gas bags, and this is something I have never really used to soak because I always find that I get shot off of them. Now, in the second test, where we do players-only turrets there, we'll be able to test whether you get shot off. But I am playing with these turrets, which are tamed creatures only. So let's see how reduced this is, what kind of numbers we get if we just slowly back up. Ah, so that is good. Oh, the problem there is that the tech pushes it away. Let's go again. Oh yeah, that's not good. So maybe these aren't good against tech at all because of that. Obviously you can see the numbers aren't as big as the Stego. We're on 45 and 46 damage, and it doesn't seem to be too different depending on which one it is. Now it's probably not the case, but let me just check it's not because I'm blown up, and that's why we're taking, well, that's why we're getting pushed away. Wow, you actually take way less damage when you're blown up. I didn't actually know that. I mean, I've always seen people blow up when they use them, but yeah, you do take less damage. Just see if we can get hit by just the heavy. Well, it's going to be tricky there, but we'll see if we can make it like show us the damage difference. Okay, so there's just a heavy. Let's blow up and walk back. And there you go. Yeah, massively reduced, but as you saw, not good for heavies. We'll have to see how it fares against players only, but oh, sorry, not good for tech turrets even. You get pushed away, which is unfortunate. But yeah, very, very low numbers there for actually soaking. It was taking, what, 45 damage from heavy. So yeah, very good heavy soaker, as a lot of people say. Now, Reaper King doesn't have a saddle, but these aren't bad at soaking, really. Let's have a little look, see how this does for numbers-wise. 92 there. And we're not really getting hit by that tech turret. Right, the tech does 150, so they don't really like tech turrets. That's like, you know, I mean, the numbers don't seem a much bigger difference, but that is another third, you know. So that is quite a difference. But 92 on the Reaper, as you can see. Not a bad soaker, considering you can get those up to like, what, 60k on official? I think it's something around there. Alright, Patchy Rhino. I never really used these when they were the go-to soaker because I wasn't really playing very much at that point. But I believe they changed them to not soak as well. But let's see how they do anyway. Oh, yeah, they don't like that at all. Let's see if I can just get the heavy or just the tech and just double check what those numbers were. Yeah, so it was 64 from the heavy. You see, I'm getting shot very easily there. Oh yeah, my chest piece is gone. Oh yeah, so that is very dodgy. So basically it seems like patchy rhinos are just to be thrown in the bin. Like, you know, they did make them less strong and they don't seem to be useful at all anymore. Next up, the beloved trike, and I think this is the one that maybe I really want to test, because I do get a lot of people saying like, why are you using a golem when you can use trike sometimes when I'm actually soaking bullets in my own videos. But to be honest, if I'm ever using a golem instead of a trike, it's probably because the turrets are set up in such a way that it's going to be very difficult for me to not get hit while using the trike. And obviously trikes are a lot quicker to get, but I mean, not really so much on unofficial. So yeah, obviously trikes love a tech turret. We're getting 37 and 38 there. I'm not sure if 37 is... I thought these actually took a lot less from tech than they did. Yeah, so we were getting 37 from the tech and 38. So yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, very low numbers. This is some of the lowest numbers we've got, which is obviously great. Tracks are very useful, but it doesn't take a lot. You see, like on either side for us to start getting hit by like 200. And on an official server, or if you don't have an amazing trike and you turn off, look, you see it's very dodgy being on top of that. So obviously in the right circumstance, trike is going to be an absolute beast, and he's probably one of the kings. But yeah, they're not the be all and end all in every situation. Okay, now we've got a rock golem. I can actually walk forward with this one because these are on players and tames. So yeah, these really hate tech turrets. You can see 375 from the tech and only 23 when it's a heavy turret. So they love heavy turrets. Absolutely will chew on those all days. But yeah, horrendous for tech. So maybe actually even these early beginnings, I'm thinking maybe I could go for racers for soaking on the servers I've been playing on. The number wasn't incredibly huge. Let's just have a little look again and see what those numbers were. So 375 for tech. Interesting, interesting. And then let's see what, say, the racer was. Can't exactly remember what the number was. But I know it was two similar numbers. Sorry about the screen flickering, guys. That's just Ark Survival Evolved's amazing lighting effect. Oh, you see, that's 256. These are still pretty big numbers. Oh, God, I'm really sorry about that flickering, guys. It's just when I get on the racer. But, yeah, those are pretty big numbers on that racer as well. What was the stegos again? Sorry, I could go back over the video afterwards and do this, but I'm just so interested as I do this. Let's go up to this. And how are we looking with this little beast? Again, we're looking at 157. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Obviously you guys could say, oh, well, you know, different saddles will do different effectiveness, but we've just got all primitive just for testing sake here. Obviously, you know, if you've got an amazing saddle for a trike and not a good saddle for a stego, you're probably gonna try your hardest to use those trikes. 100 movement speed's rough. Okay, let's go for this turtle. See what kinds of numbers we get here. Are we going to get, you know, hundreds, or is it going to be low 30s? It'll be interesting for me at least. I know they don't like getting hit in the head particularly. Oh yeah, I take way too much damage there. You can't use them with tech turrets. I think the heavy turrets, that would have been okay, but the tech turrets, it's a no-go. Alright, my carbon enemy's gone over there, but I'm not too interested in him anymore, really, because the only testing I've got left to do is to test these turrets that are on players only and see how I get a shot off of those. I do have these sleeping bags here. Don't know why I couldn't spawn them. Oh, it's because these foundations are so close from enemy players. Okay, let me go sort that out. But basically, with that whole experiment we just did there, if you take the two numbers, the number that the heavy turret did and the number that the tech turret did, add them together and divide it by 2, then whatever that number is will basically be how good it is at soaking both of them at the same time. So I might do a little bit of math there at the end of the video and actually to figure out which dino is technically the best at soaking if there's both at the same time and no way of getting around that. Now, a lot of these, I know how they behave when you have players only turrets, and I believe these turrets we're going to now are players only. Like, I'm pretty sure I set them correctly, and we'll probably be able to see as I go to them. But there's a few that I want to check. Obviously the Stego, see if we can get, or this is going to be very dodgy. It's always scary when there's tech turrets as well, because I have infinite stats on right now, but I don't have God mode, so I could get like blasted off. Well, you can see there, I got pretty much smashed by players only when on Stegos. So obviously Stegos are great, and they do protect you, but you do have to still be a little bit careful. It's weird, you know, because sometimes I just walk straight up to the turrets with the Stego and don't get shot. But I think when there's tech, Stego is going to be still a little bit tricky. And now we've got the racer, obviously. The problem is, you know, I think this was changed at some point, but if the turrets are on players only, you won't get shot when you're completely boxed in like this. Now, I'm not sure if there are some builds where you can get around that. Maybe if you just do a pillar. I guess I should try that right now, because I'm not 100% sure, but obviously on players only, it's hard to get a shot off of this thing, or even get them to shoot you at all. Okay, here I am in my pillar. Will I get a shot at? Nope, seems like even like that, you won't get a shot at. I could take the foundation off, but I feel like if you're really going that bare bones, you're guaranteed to get a shot off. Let's go for this trikey. Obviously, I will get a shot here, but I might be able to do it if I'm very careful. I get a thing these ones that are on the top are way too high for players only to be effective here. Especially the tech. The tech's the major problem because of the splash damage, obviously. So can I, like, look up? Oh, you know what I should do? I should do the whip thing. A lot of you guys complain if I ever do this without it, so I'm going to do that. Alright, here I am. Whip in hand. And can I, like, look up with the trike and then put the whip in my hand? Does that even work? And then put the whip in my hand. Oh, then I'm looking up. Right, I don't think that works then. Okay, so let's walk forward here. Okay, it's definitely dodgy. I mean, it's probably doable. You can see there I can soak that bottom one without getting hit. But now I'm getting hit there. The one on top is obviously hitting me. You can see there when I look at it. There's no way that the trike's going to block there. So yeah, trikes, I love them, guys. But sometimes if the turrets are a little bit too high, there's just absolutely no chance of soaking with them, which is why I quite often use the rock golem. I do want to try with this gas bags. Like, I'm 99% sure I'm just going to get melted off as soon as I try. But I don't know. Everyone keeps going on about blooming gas bags, gas bags, gas bags. I'm like, well, if there's any turrets on players only, surely you're just going to get melted off. But we'll give it a go. Let's get some fresh flak so I don't get instantly melted. And we'll see. We'll see. Is this a thing? So the whip might be a thing on here as well, but I can't actually get my whip out. So I guess that's not a thing. I guess it's just looking down, blowing up. And let's see, man. Every time I've tried this, I just get melted off. Let's go from a slightly better angle, just to make sure there's no funny business going on here. Okay, please don't shoot me. Nah, you see, it just hits straight on me. I don't get it. Maybe people are talking about only when it's on players and tames. But yeah, some interesting results there, guys. Some things I wasn't expecting indeed. I think the racer is something I could try on my unofficials, because on unofficials I play on a lot of turrets on players and tames, so I could do the box and I'd be you know, people wouldn't be able to pick me off. I still do like the golem just because you can walk around so easily with it, and obviously that heavy turret damage is like unbeatable really. Was it 16 damage from a heavy? Like, that is, I think that's got to be the best in the game, right? I don't think anything beats that. We're getting 23 now. Maybe it was 23. Numbers are all jacked around, I swear. Let's have a little look. Yeah, but that is really good. Either way, let me know what you guys think. If you could only have one of these to soak with, what would you do it? And this is without knowing what the turrets are like, guys. If you only can have one of these and you approach a base, you've got no idea if they're on players or players and tames or a mix, and you can only have one of these to soak, what are you going to take? Or even maybe tell me what you take if you could take two as well. Obviously, you've got rock golems and reaper kings. Reaper kings are great because obviously while you're fighting, if there are people around trying to fight, you can get the flyers down with the splooge attack. They do a bit of damage, they can jump around really well, but obviously a Reaper King might be a bit too advanced. A lot of people can get trikes super early, get the breed lines going, increase chance, obviously you can get the mutations and all that kind of thing with trikes. So still up for debate and a constantly ever-changing meta, which I think makes the game exciting, keeps it fresh, and I always love those kinds of challenges. But let's have a little conclusion on what is actually the best after looking at those results. So I've gone back over the footage and the numbers are in. Here are our conclusions from this testing. Starting off with the Racer, a fan favourite. Now the number one problem with this thing is that obviously if turrets are on players only, they're almost impossible to drain safely. You're going to be sitting on there. I mean, you probably just could not do it. But numbers wise, how does it look? Well, it took 250 damage from the tech and 256 from the heavy. So if you combine those and divide by 2, you end up with 253, which is quite a big number when you actually consider some of the other numbers we're going to be getting at. So if you're going to be looking at tech and heavies, it's not going to be a big difference between the both. However, they do take a decent amount of damage. Now obviously you've got some plus sides of this. You can get decent saddles for these. They're very easy berry raises, and they're quite good in general in raids. People like sitting on them and being a bit safe. You know, they can run up to turret towers and whatever. So obviously it has its plus sides. It can be mate boosted and imprinted as well, of course, but overall not super impressed with them. Now the trike had some amazing numbers, only taking 37 damage. Obviously this is only in the head, guys. We're talking about legs and body damage. We all know the trike is terrible for that, but in the head, if you can get the head to be draining the bullets, we had 37 for the tech and 38 for the heavy. We'll just round that off and say that, you know, times that by 2, or add them together, divide by 2. Let's say that's a 38 damage. That is actually the lowest number we're going to see here today. Now this does make the trike one of the best soakers right now. Everyone's raving about them, but obviously there are big downsides. The head will protect you, but not especially well against tall turret towers. If turrets are on players only, it can be super dangerous. And even if they're not on players only, if you need to walk sideways all of a sudden, you'll get hit for like 250 plus damage in the side. But overall, a great performer. Did really well here. I guess another plus point is they're super easy to raise, super easy to tame, and all of that kind of thing. Now the Gasbags, really there wasn't anything too unexpected here apart from the reduced damage while being blown up. And I'm a complete bob for not knowing that, but I'd kind of overlooked Gasbags and not really tested them. That was the whole point of doing this video. Now they are okay if you're only draining heavy turrets and the turrets are on players and tames. They are decent, very decent. However, if there's any tech turrets, these are an absolute no-go. They get pushed away. Also, if any of the turrets are on players only, then you're going to get shot off straight away, unless there's some technique I'm not doing. That's what I could tell, but obviously they are still, you know, they do have their uses. If you see a base with only heavy turrets and it seems to be players and tames only, then we're all good there. Numbers wise, in a perfect case scenario, it was only taking 46 damage from the heavy, and it only took 45 from the tech as well, but as we said, you'll get blown away with the tech. So it does have its use, but it's very, very particular, the Gasbags. Now the Patchy Rhino, we can kind of throw this one in the bin. The head on it is just too small really to drain many turrets. In a desperate situation, if you were coming up against just a very small base or a very small tower, you could use this if it's all you've got, but we did see some relatively big numbers, really, like double the damage of a trike. So 62 from a tech turret, 64 from a heavy turret. Combine those and divide by 2 gives you 63, whereas the number we had for a trike, which is obviously very similar, was 38. So I can't really see any reason you would use this over a trike right now, unless it's literally all you had at hand. Now, moving on to the Reaper King. Obviously, the Reaper Kings are an interesting one because they're a multi-use dino. They are good in raids for all the reasons that I said previously. They're very fast and agile. You can meat run with them. They have lots of abilities. Also, they didn't do too bad in terms of taking damage from the turrets. We saw 150 damage from tech, 92 from heavy. Combine that and divide by 2 is 121, which is a very reasonable number when you compare that to, say, a racer that was taking 252. Now, the downside to this is you can't get a mate boost on these things. There's no saddles on them whatsoever. So when we're talking about these numbers with these other creatures, with a better saddle, it's going to be much better than a Reaper King, for example, in certain circumstances. If you have a good saddle on, you know, a racer and you can soak with that, you might want to use that over a Reaper King, although Reaper Kings are still an option. Definitely an option if they're all you've got. If you're on Aberration, you can get loads of them. Very, very decent for soaking, in my opinion. And they're quite safe to sit on as well, even on players only turrets. You have to be, you know, have to really make some mistakes to get a shot off of them. Also, just sitting under here, we've got the Stego. This was kind of a mid-range thing. It didn't have like crazy good or crazy bad soaking stats. I think the damage numbers will alter a little bit depending on if the turrets are on players only or players or tamed creatures, for example. But this took 157 from the tech, 161 from the heavy. If you combine those two, divide by 2, we're talking 159, which is literally slap bang in the middle of the road for these for this test. Now, they are a little bit safer to sit on than a trike, so you do have to weigh up taking a bit more damage than a trike would take. Well, actually, it's quite a lot more damage than a trike would take. The trike's number was 38 overall. This one is 159, so this is like, what, 4 times, maybe 5 times that. But Stegos, again, you can mate boost them. They're very easily available, and they are a bit more safe to sit on than those trikes, which you can get a shot off of super easy. Finally, we have the big boy, the Rock Golem, and I guess we didn't find out anything particular. We didn't really know about this. It absolutely hates tech turrets, but it loves heavy turrets. Now, the interesting thing is if you combine the numbers of the damage it took from both, so it was taking 375 from tech, and it was taking 23 damage from the heavy, we get a number of 199, which I guess is similar to a Stego, actually. So they can be considered around that kind of level if you're soaking both heavies and tech. Goes without saying, if it's just tech, don't use a golem. If it's just heavies, definitely use a golem. But if it's a mix of both, I really like this one still if you do have a lot of them, mainly because they're very easy to not get shot off of. It's very easy to just point the head up or walk backwards into turrets that are on players only, and with the ones that have the great numbers like the trike, for example, like the Gasbags, they are very, very susceptible to you getting shot off of in lots of different circumstances. And even the racer, you know, it's hard to get the turret to shoot you if they're on players only. So I still love the golem, and I guess this whole thing just confirms the fact that a trike is an absolute beast right now, and it is probably what a lot of people will use. And then, you know, the golem as well, depending on tech. Like, I play on unofficial where there's loads of tech turrets, but on officials not always so much, depending on your servers and depending on the rates of the servers you play on. So let me know what you guys think about this testing. If you'd like to see me do some more, any kind of different tests you'd like, feel free to leave comments in the comment section down below letting me know that. Don't forget to smash that like button if you did get this far. I presume you enjoyed the video, so don't forget to smash that like button on your way out. But also, there's some more of my videos coming up right now if you'd like to check out some more of my content. But that's it for this one, guys. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.